Food there? Yeah, feeling good. Yeah, I do. But all right, let's see. Got a couple of people starting to file in. Make sure you say hello. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Had a bunch of topics. Sorry about not filming last couple of days. Um, just had to clear my head on a couple of different things, look at some things from a couple of different angles. Let me know if there's any problem with volume or if the background noise is too loud. I can shut this door to kind of, excuse me, get rid of some of that background noise before we get started. Um, yeah, like I said, I just want to kind of give a little bit more time for some people to hop in here. I know oftentimes people don't get notifications for my streams, but give it a little bit more time. Um, got a bunch of topics to get into. The reason why I didn't film the last couple of nights is I'm thinking that I probably need to just figure um, a set day to film for this channel instead of trying to do um, every day. I mean, my goal was to kind of do the car ride chats, so it'd be something that was kind of quick that I can get out. But I started having problems with my signal a lot of times, going in and out. So decided I'd try doing this, but I have a problem keeping myself to my allotted times or not giving myself an allotted time and going longer than I plan on going. And so then that affects my research and other stuff. So it puts me kind of all off track. So figure I just need to kind of figure um, one set day, and then occasionally I will pop on an extra day. So I'm thinking more than likely that set day is probably going to be Wednesday or Thursday, um, because then I'll have my stream on the Political Matrix on Saturday nights. So I guess it'll help me be able to balance a little bit more. So I guess without further ado, we'll get started. Many topics to get into tonight. I have this show titled YouTube Censorship of Sky News out of Australia. We have the Nina Turner loses, um, the eviction moratorium, and more. And when I say and more, there's always a lot more, and that's always what I tell people to key into. Don't always focus on whatever the main headline or topic is. Focus on whatever other stuff which gets brought up in conversation later on throughout the rest of the stream. Because a lot of times I don't even know which direction some of these conversations are going to go as people start to give their input through the chat. So I guess the first story that I will start off with, of course, I guess to get this story out of the way, we'll go ahead and go with the Nina Turner loss. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of people who have their arguments either way on Nina Turner. I just heard, what was it? I would say, Tim Black, uh, pardon me, Tim Black and Status Quo, George Sheridan, um, before the race, talking about how they are, how I guess they have such a strong feeling that if Nina Turner would have got in there, that she would have been so effective, so powerful. That's I don't want to get into that or debate that. Um, I feel like, in all honesty, she would probably try to do some stuff and probably fight a little harder, but in the long run, she would probably end up being um, no more of a fighter than Jamal Bowman or Corey Bush are. So, and which we will get into Corey Bush later. But the Nina Turner race, if you look into the factors who are really funding and donating to a lot of the campaigns, it was one of those typical centrists versus, I guess, progressives. Um, and the same thing which happened just like in the Bernie race, just like in the Cynthia Nixon race, just like in many Shahid Uttar race. So many races out there, the same thing happens. A lot of DC cash gets flooded in there. Now, they can bring up, oh, well, Nina probably got a lot of funding from her. One article talked about her funding from California. Um, and that's true, but it's easy to isolate information like that and just point out where this candidate got money here, but not disclose all the other locations they got money. And if the other candidate received money from all of these various locations also. It's just something which they like to do to isolate and a lot of times use truthful information for misleading purposes. So that's something we always have to watch out for, which they'll do with some of these different stories. But, Nina Turner, I knew no matter if she was going to be a fighter or not going to be a fighter, because of the bad beef with the Clintons, I just saw no way that this race was ever going to be. I'll just say this: I'm not indicating cheating. I'm not indicating anything. I just saw no reality where Clintons have so much power with a lot of the electoral establishment, whether it's just getting more TV time, whether it's propping up. I'm not even going to say the other candidate's name because I don't really care about it. But actually, I don't really care about either. I don't really care about this race at all for the most part. But because I don't feel like it would have either way changed the factors of what we're dealing with today. Either we get another Pelosi yes woman, or we get basically what a kind of Bernie Sanders with better rhetoric. Um, I just, or I guess what the new AOC, since AOC is kind of, being exposed, day by day by day. I've heard that she's been telling some people out there that she's thinking about leaving Congress to go back into activism. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, I believe that. If you do anything like that, watch out that she is running for some kind of office directly after it. That's one thing you could take to the bank. So I don't even care. I don't care what office it might be. She'd either be running, more than likely, it'd be for Senate, but she could sit out and try to do the activism thing for a couple of years. And everybody will say, see, she came back to activism. See, we can trust her. And then she'll start talking trash about the establishment, all the stuff she had to do under Pelosi. And then next thing you know, she'll be running for president because by that time she'll more than likely have passed that 35 threshold. I mean, I've always looked for her to keep pushing up the ladder, more than likely to Senate first. But if she decides this activism route might be a better way to go, look out for it. So I say don't be so quickly with AOC getting out of politics to go into activism, even if she does it, which I do not believe she's going to do. And I say even if she does, it's going to be for a short stint, and she is running for some major office, and all of it is going to be used for politics. So just want to put that out there. I guess. Oh yeah, Nina Turner. I've talked about it enough. Just some of my thoughts on it. The eviction moratorium. Now, that one is one of the more interesting topics. I guess you could just call this my own theory on it. And I'm fine with it. If YouTube you would prefer to just label this all conspiracy theory, please just do that instead of censoring my videos or throwing off my algorithms and all that stuff. Let people at least listen to the content and make up their own mind. Which that will tie into a couple other stories which I have to talk about. Let's see, the eviction moratorium and Cori Bush. Well, all of the Democrats knew that they had already had that court ruling that told them that they needed to put the law through Congress, that it needed to be done through Congress. They all knew that. They all sat on it. And then all of a sudden they played this hot potato game of blame. Oh no, it's your fault. No, it's Biden's fault. No, it's Pelosi's fault. No, it's the squad's fault. No, it's all their fault. And this is all designed in a choreographed dance, which they do over and over. They need the sheep herders for people to still have faith in the sheep herders. And Cori Bush, remember, this is my conspiracy theory again. Cori Bush, being formerly homeless, now a congresswoman, to stage herself basically sleeping outside as an elected official to show solidarity for people who possibly are going to get put outside. If you guys can't see how that's almost a little too perfect of a narrative, I mean, it's almost too perfect for me that, oh, well, they're not going to do anything about it. They're going to go out of town. They didn't realize the heat and the pressure that they were going to get about it. And then their consultants start telling them about, the backlash, which you guys might get around the midterms. Well, what do? Well, we have to show that there's some kind of fight. And so who do we send out there? Our candidate, who that's the single issue which she is giving, I mean, I guess we'll say giving credit for being her one of her main issues. And so of course you would have to have that person out there. And since AOC's been getting so much flack, especially watching her put on the track shoes running for Franco the other day was pretty hilarious. But watching how it seems as if they know all of the heat and the pressure that's on them. They know all the people are watching them, and they know what people are saying about them. And they know it's not a small percentage of the so-called left. They know it's starting to become a sizable amount, if not a majority, who are really starting to question them. Even some of their ardent supporters, I feel like, would have to be questioning them on some of these things at some point, even if they still support them. Well, I feel, like I said, my opinion, that it was just perfect for them to be able to redeem some credibility to go out there and say, oh, well, look, we fight. We're out here fighting. We're not just doing this inside game instead of just or the inside outside game, which they talk about, which they say they're mostly doing the inside now, which they've been doing the outside before, but they're actually getting a whole lot more done, which even through statistical data on bills that have passed through Congress and how they score them through all their different analytics, that's not factually true. They're not getting more done. They're not getting more accomplished. In fact, all they're doing is using a lot more rhetoric with a lot more people to the squad, in which they said was the problem. They just didn't have enough people. Now they have more people. And we're still seeing the same thing over and over, the same excuses, the same lack of push to put on Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats. We still see it over and over. And then you'll have these, what I say are the just perfect DC staged, almost postcard like images where you have Cori Bush and AOC in the background. And the one thing which I'm not going to show any images, I'm not going to play any clips, just to be on the safe side for a while, to test out to see what my actual limits are, since I feel like I'm being extremely scrutinized by YouTube. And I actually throw the accusation out that I feel it's a scrutiny that is not placed upon other people, deeming it unfair, which I don't think that they care about those things in their policies. I guess certain groups of people are not allowed to have protection, like myself. But any other random person, I mean, I guarantee, yeah, we're gonna get. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Don't want to get ahead of myself. We will talk about YouTube soon enough. That's probably why they're keeping this live stream at 0 views, but it doesn't matter. Um, oh yeah, and so they have Cori Bush and AOC dressed down. Um, so you have that look of two, minority women, which look like more, and they're younger, the face of America, versus Chuck Schumer standing there in his suit, all kind of, business like, looking like they're really sticking it to the man. And it's just a photo op down to him, the suit which he's wearing, the way he's standing, the way they're, looking like they're really challenging him. When the funny thing about it is, Chuck Schumer is not the person that they would need to be challenging. Nancy Pelosi is their boss because she is Speaker of the House. If you are able to get everything through the Speaker of the House and Chuck Schumer is holding things up, then at that point they would need to be talking to Chuck Schumer. But there's no photos of them talking to Pelosi. And if you notice, the more and more that you see these politicians out, especially the Cori Bushes, the AOCs, their staff is stepping in really fast, not one to answer any questions that are not on their pre-approved question list. They want to come straight up like celebrities, take some pictures, say a few words, get adored by their congregation of people who think and believe exactly the same way they do and that are going to defend them no matter what, because most of them are a cult of personality, which that leads into a topic which I want to go into. Let me write this down so I'll remember, because it is something that I wanted to bring up, which is I've been seeing going around in the leftist community, and I just wanted to talk about it. All right. So they only want to, these celebrities or politicians, which are acting like celebrities, they don't really want to address their constituents, not for real, because they know that there's a lot of tough questions, which they don't have very good answers for. And so, more proof that they are not on your side is the fact that they won't sit there and at least answer these questions. The fact that they want to hide from you. They're supposed to be your servant, but you can't ever get a hold of them. What sense does that make? You know, I don't even know why they're even called public servants. They should be called, I mean, overlords or something. I don't know what to call them. Okay, let me get off of that. So the eviction moratorium, Biden comes out after all of this theatrics and does a 60-day moratorium, and then they come out and they talk about how the mountains that they could move for this. So many other issues that they didn't do anything about. And it took for them to start getting pressure, and they realized, oh crap, people are really, people are noticing this effect. And this is one thing which, I mean, you could take from other people. It doesn't necessarily mean you agree with everything they say or everything they think, but they can be right on certain things. So on this one, I'll take something which, you know, actually, hold on one second. Yeah, a lot of these people who are this cult of personality. Um, I forgot that other quote. Never mind, it's not important. Um, but what was it that I wanted to talk about? Um, kind of a off topic, which I wanted to bring up, which I noticed. Um, there has been more bombing from Israel into, well, there's been a start of bombing or shelling from Israel into Lebanon. And the reason why this is a little bit different than normal is this has been probably about maybe the 10th time in the last probably couple of months, which I've heard of, that this bombing and shelling is getting very, very close to Russian troops. And um, numerous advisors through the Russian government, including Vladimir Putin, have given pretty stiff warnings to Israel. So what will come of that? I don't know. I just thought it was something that we should keep an eye on, and I wanted to bring it up in case you all out there have not heard anything about this. Um, okay, let's see. Oh yeah. On my video that got taken down the other day, which I'm appealing. Um, it if I don't know if either somehow breaking points with Sagar and Jetty and Crystal Ball, their guest Derek Thompson, I believe, from the Atlantic was on, and they go into breaking down all this stuff about um, what would it be fake news, and then they start going into how stupid people are for you know not trusting some of the sources which are out there from the authoritative sources, as YouTube calls them. Uh, I mean, and I look at it like this: if there are medical people out there who have their different research which they've done, and they've come to different conclusions, whether you agree with the information or not, I think that that medical professional has a better understanding of what's going on than some random person on YouTube or some random moderator sitting behind the screens at YouTube just deciding that, you know what, I think this violates this or I think this violates that. Who are you? What do you know? How do you think? I mean, why do you think that you know more than that doctor does? Just because that just because that doctor is saying something different than what you've heard uh, doesn't mean that it's necessarily misinformation or incorrect. It just means that you are making a very, very, very biased decision based on presuppositions which you have. Just because you have certain biases or prejudice towards, viewing information or a different perspective doesn't mean that that should be completely censored out. That doesn't mean it should be erased because when you start erasing other people's voices, you know, I mean, at what point is that not, obstructing them? At what point is that not a form of oppression, which you're doing right there? And some people would say, "Oh, well, it's a private. I mean, it's a free platform. It's a private platform. These different things like that." Well, when you're as large as you are, and other corporations which are trying to, grow and would have possibly allowed us, many of us, to be able to speak more freely. You guys try to make sure that these platforms are still within your purview to control them also through your parent companies. And so when you say, oh, well, you could go to another platform, not really. Not really. So therefore, at what point are the YouTube fact checkers being fact checked? I mean, last year, plenty of channels got taken down, all kind of crazy little games which YouTube likes to play. When they were literally parroting false information through major networks. And if you want to say what information or are trying to hit me or saying false information, you can't have literal doctors, the people who you say that we're supposed to trust, come out and say one thing, then turn around and say something different, then turn around and say something different, then turn around and say something different. And you all know what I'm talking about. And YouTube, you guys literally have those videos on your channel showing showing that Dr. Fauci and other people are literally going back and forth on their own word. And you're telling us that he still has to be listened to, no questions asked. But when he's caught in all of these, I guess, what would we call it? What do they call it? politics flip-flops. When he's caught in all of these flip-flops, it's not treated as disinformation. And it's allowed to, there's no kind of, okay, well, we need to review this, or let's hold this for 7 days, or all the suspension stuff, or let's cut your views, or let's put you on different algorithms for false information. There's none of that. And the truth, YouTube, is all you're doing is you are biased towards your investors. And whatever you think your investors might be offended by, you automatically take the anti-approach towards it. And the lab leak scenario is proof in the pudding. That lab, which was studying literal coronavirus, people are thrown off of YouTube for misinformation, for even questioning that it could have been a lab leak a year ago. And now it's talked about on NBC and all these other major platforms. And then you're still going out trying to censor people when you've already shown that you've been censoring people incorrectly. But you guys don't want to ease up from that. You want to do more of it. And which at some point we have to start questioning, what are your motives and why are you doing the stuff what you're doing? Because it's obviously not for truth. Because you're getting caught proving that your methods are incorrect, that you are, I would say, preemptively censoring people. And I know this might be petty, and I think that it's petty that you guys would do this in the first place. I'm a small platform which is censored pretty heavily, as it is. I don't know what you guys think my little voice is going to do to really affect and change a bunch of people and do something so dangerous. So I don't get the paranoia or fear and feeling like you need to shut my channel down the way that you do. But the fact of me getting 127 views on a video that causes you guys to cut my view count in half. I mean, I don't remember reading that anywhere in the contracts, that you guys are just going to literally misrepresent channels by lying about their views. Or if that is in the user policies of YouTube, can you please, share it? Or even better, what I would prefer is if somebody on YouTube who is a part of this censoring, I would love to invite them on the platform so they can explain and school me and explain these things to me. But you want to know what's going to happen? That's never going to happen, because their goal is not to be clear. Their goal is to intentionally be vague. So if any of their investors are upset about a certain issue, any channels which are talking about or going into those issues are going to have the screws put to them. Now, even though I'm never going to get monetized, I'm pretty sure they still show commercials on my videos. And so that means, therefore, you're making money off of me. And therefore, I also do pay for the premium YouTube service. So I pay you guys also. And then what I get from paying you and you guys using me for commercial advertisement also, you guys take away my view counts and put me on lower algorithms intentionally. Now, I'm pretty sure if somebody did a nice little survey out there, I'm pretty sure that they'll find that Black content creators, no matter what the subject, are at the bottom across the board. And you'd have to start wondering, I can understand in the real world because we have slavery and all these things like that, but why would the same situation be going on YouTube? Is it that somebody at the tops of YouTube or somebody who's doing some of this controlling the algorithms maybe secretly has a certain problem with people of a darker complexion? Because I'm starting to wonder, when I look across the board, there's massive censorship and massive scrutiny put on people of my complexion. And yes, YouTube, I am officially, officially accusing you guys of being racist. I believe that's what you're doing, and I believe if the analytics were showed, you will find that Black content creators across the board typically are at the bottom as far as analytics. And I don't think it's because all of them are just not as good as their white counterparts or other. I know I'm small, but I know that there are a lot of people that you guys are doing this to. All I want to do is be able to do my show and be able to speak the information as truthfully as I can and show my sources. And if people have disagreements with what I have to say, then they could air those disagreements or grievances. But for you all to decide, like you're everybody's mother or father, that they're not mature enough to even be able to hear the content or be able to make cognitive choices and decisions on information that they hear. I mean, the level of dictatorial thinking that goes into the individuals, which would, you know, micromanage and censor people that way. Especially, I'm pretty sure most of these people who are doing this censoring at YouTube, pretty sure most of them aren't ancient historians. I'm pretty sure most of them aren't Bible scholars. I'm pretty sure most of them aren't experts in politics around the world. I'm pretty sure most of them are not virologists. I'm pretty sure most of them are not experts in the medical field or law field. But for some reason, a lot of these individuals are just randomly picking and choosing whatever they want to do to content. And I asked, why is this acceptable? Why is there no pushback against this? I mean, I know why there's no pushback. We'll leave it at that. But, more on the YouTube censorship. Sky News, which literally had doctors on their platform and had people of varying varying opinions, who allow free debate and free discussion for individuals to think on their own instead of, you know, almost kind of like what Laura Ingraham said when she told LeBron to shut up and dribble. This is kind of that same situation. Basically telling us all, a lot of Black content creators, to shut up and just take the backs, listen to the government, shut your mouth. That's exactly what it feels like. And I wonder if there's any content creators, especially Black content creators, which have thought about looking into, some of the actual laws regarding discrimination from some of these platforms, especially in really what YouTube, what you're in Santa Barbara, so California jurisdiction. We'll just keep that in mind. We'll put a button in that. But there's no reason for you guys to keep playing the petty, childish, immature games you guys do, messing with people's content. Many of us work full time, spend many hours into doing this research and studying and vetting our information to try to be as factually correct as possible. And half of you all probably spend most of your time drinking throughout college and then land this job and is just randomly clicking shit because you're allowed to. And then, if it's not enough, that they censor all of them, they start going big again. Now they censor Sky News out of Australia. I mean, well, I guess I did mention that. Sky News out of Australia is if YouTube knows more or has better researchers than that news organization. I mean, it's just the gall and audacity to do that to a newspaper. And I know why. Because YouTube has taken and I guess maybe this comes from the top, because a lot of times, however organization functions, it normally comes from the mannerisms and the personality and the environment set from the people at the top. And I guess if the people at the top have such a dictatorial view and a hardcore view in one way, then of course that they're going to disallow information on the other way, which, I mean, it's kind of sad to say, but that would mean that that leader would be coming from a very dictatorial, uh, like a monarchical, like thinking that they're a monarch or a king, and nobody is allowed to disagree with them ultimately. And so, if you disagree with the king or queen, then you must be punished or possibly even got rid of. And so, I mean, that's what YouTube's up to. And if it was up to me, I would hope that you all would be definitely broken up. Or at least you allow for another corporation who is going to let people actually do content freely and unobstructed from your radical censorship. I mean, if you guys could do that, let somebody else rise up, and then that way we can go. I will go happily, because you guys make it to the point where people like me don't really want to be on YouTube, because YouTube is so oppressive to its content creators. If you are not one of the major outlets which brings in money to them, if you say one little thing they don't like, they start fucking with your channel. And I've been dealing with the censorship with them since I started this channel, about 2 years ago. And it's carried on to my other channel. In fact, if you all are out there right now, go to just search in this channel. Now, I'm pretty sure that you'll probably see plenty of my videos start popping up. What I notice is typically maybe one that's newer, and the rest will be some of my lower view counts. But it is showing my videos. I'm saying that if you type it out completely, because if you just type in like Marcus Cage or something like that, you're gonna get a gazillion other things more than likely. My Hebrew apologetics with Marcus Cage. I type that one in, boom, it pulls up pretty much all my videos, because I don't have that many yet on that channel. When I pull up my the political matrix, that's where it gets a little funky. You see at the bar showing my channel and the views and how many videos. And then right below that, you have like one video that's from like 7 months ago. And then you start scrolling down and scrolling down and scrolling down and scrolling down, and it gets almost in every one of their, because how it comes up, at least for mine, I'm not sure if everybody's the same. But it'll show search results related to what you search, and then it shows suggested other suggested results, which I don't even know what the hell, because it normally is completely disjointed from what search you're actually looking for. And then it'll show some more that you were looking for. Then it shows some suggested videos on, I guess, other stuff which you've watched. And then it skips down to another block back to normally showing more from your search. On my other two channels, on this channel and on my Hebrew Apologetics channel, pretty much in all the search engines, it's mostly my videos. At least Hebrew Apologetics is all my videos. And on this channel, it's mostly my videos. But on the political matrix, you could scroll for easily 5 minutes straight and only pull up like 10 of my videos. And it's interesting, most of the videos which it does put near the top are videos that have like 10 views, 8 views, some of my lowest content on the channel. That's the one which they put as my highest. And when you start seeing some of my views, say it's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, as you start to keep scrolling further and further down to normally the point where if you were searching for someone's stuff, you've already seen all their stuff and stuff connected to them. And then you just start seeing nothing else because they don't have any more content. At the point where you normally stop seeing content in the search, that's when you start seeing most of my content. At that bottom part where somebody's been searching through this thing for like 15, 20 minutes, just seeing all the things that come up under the search engine, under the search result, mine, after you've done all that scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling down for minutes and minutes and minutes, then you'll finally start getting down to my content all the way at the bottom. And the higher the view count, the lower it is. And that's why it aggravated me that, okay, as my view counts start creeping up, creeping up, creeping up on the political matrix, then that's when they decide, okay, let's cut this video in half. And I was kind of shocked because it was still going up at the time. And of most of the videos that I had on that channel so far, that's probably the video that was actually looked like it was continuing to go up and get more views. But that little cut in it slowed that down, and I could literally see that in the analytics. But I guess that's all. I won't keep going on that subject. The assholes over there who are doing this are going to keep doing whatever they want to do any damn way. It's not much I can do about it. I can wish horrible things on them, whoever they are. Is wishing a crime? Is wishing a crime? Or are you guys going to say that somehow I'm going to do it by wishing? But yes, I do not wish positive things for the people who like to do this level of censorship. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think I might have talked about it, but I'm not sure I completely went into it. Breaking Point's guest that they had on. It's interesting that like some of the points which I brought up before critiquing their video, that video which got taken down, which I'm appealing. During like the video, like what was right after it, it seems like Sagar either was listening to what I said or somebody else has said something similar to him, which he decided to address. But he started going into, well, nobody said that the death rate is only X%. We'll to be safe, that's all we'll do. Look for my Twitter handle and you'll get the number, which I'm trying not to say. He's like, oh yeah, nobody said that the death rate was this or that, and start. Well, I mean, we know that it's that it's this amount or that amount, and it's like, no, that was not information that was passed on to a lot of people. That was never really focused on the actual death rate by a percentage. It was focused on how many people were infected state by state and how many people were dying out of the infected. That's all was ever focused on. And up until now, that percentage, I still have not heard from any mainstream outlet for them to say what COVID's death rate percentage is. And I'm saying for vaccinated, unvaccinated, whatever. Do them both, do them separate, do them together. I don't care. But what I'm saying is, what is that death rate percentage? Because if you're saying that every single person needs to take a vaccination, and I mean that goes into like what I was saying before, how it's going to possibly be forced to be mandatory. Now they're already forcing it mandatory now in many careers, especially if you have a government job, and that's a pushback which Biden is dealing with right now. But without going into that, this is going to face some legal, this is going to face some legal fights. It's inevitable, especially as it keeps ratcheting up. And then I don't know if you all saw it, but that's right. I don't know why I keep jumping off of that topic, but I'm gonna come back to that Saga one. But Don, I guess that's why, because they're kind of connected somewhat. So bear with me for a moment. I'm still talking about breaking points, but I needed to bring up this Don Lemon, what he was saying on CNN, and he was going into how you know that he feels we should be at the point of, if you don't have the vaccination, you shouldn't be able to go to the grocery store. So, or work. So at this point, I mean, is he soft-handedly saying like people unvaccinated should just die? Because if you cut off people's access to food and water, and you cut off their ability to be able to have employment, to have shelter, aren't you kind of basically condemning people to be homeless and hungry? I mean, I don't know if he's gotten any pushback behind his comments or not. I mean, he even kind of prefaced it saying that, I know this isn't going to be popular to say, but he went into, almost the no shoes, no shirt, no service kind of thing. And it's kind of tone deaf that he even said that, not realizing where that actually comes from. It goes back to, but that's a whole nother topic. But like I said, they're going to start trying to force people. And what he said in that interview is that it was already starting to become a major thing within the circles which he's in. And then what do we see right after? We start seeing more and more of it being pushed. And Sagar then goes in on in the next interview, in the next video following that one, where he was speaking with a very different tone. Now he was speaking as a, oh well, I mean, yeah, the percentage is this, so yeah, I mean, we know that, and trying to, soften, or I guess what's the word, kind of walk back, some of his aggressiveness to people who are questioning, you know, the validity of the vaccination, or not even just the validity of the vaccination. I'm not even one of these people who are saying that it's some kind of magnetic piece in your body, and I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm just going from a simple, simple classical medical, understanding. Um, in the past, any kind of medication which was going to be used had to go through all the clinical trials and things. If something hasn't went through clinical trials, we cannot possibly have any knowledge of what long-term side effects are going to be. Now, if I was 60, 70, 80 years old, um, and I wasn't worried about whatever side effects that it can be, then okay, cool, I could get that. Even if you're, I mean, 60, I mean, maybe even 50, you might feel like, oh, well, whatever. If something comes down, I'm getting old anyway. But some of us who are a little younger than that are like, I don't want to spend the next 30, 40 years all jacked up because of the side effects of this virus that we have no clue about. And I'm not even saying that it's going to be a mass level of everybody's going to, you know, be sick by this or have side effects, but what I'm saying is we don't know. That's my issue. We do not know. So for me to make this push on something that we don't even have a clue what the hell it's going to do to anybody 5 years from now, all because of a fear of, second, sorry about that, but we don't know any of the side effects down the road. And to feel like I'm being selfish because I'm not thinking, because I'm not willing to just gamble on this thing and trust the very same companies which have paid out some of the largest fines in history for various different things, from fraud to misinformation to all kind of things. So corporation which has been guilty of all kind of nefarious things, I'm now being forced to trust that yes, this is benevolent what they're doing right now. And oh, by the way, hey Brian, um, I'm told that I have to accept that this is benevolent, and some of these people are going to be forced to have to lose everything that they have over this forced choice that's happening. You can't say, oh well, you could just get another thing. What if you're a government employee? You can't just get another government job. I mean, that's the benefits that come with a lot of those jobs are well known. And so it's not this easy just, oh, well, you could just move over to X or you can just move over to Y. No, more than likely, you're going to move down to something else. And if you're an already established person who has a house or condo and cars and children and all that stuff, it kind of puts you in a real rock between a hard place because now you're looking at, dang, do I possibly lose this and my kids and family have to go homeless? Or do I take this experimental drug? Most people are going to take the experimental drug. That's why you've seen the recent uptick in the amount of people who've been getting the vaccination lately. Because this pressure has been put on them, this negative reinforcement has been given to them. If you don't do this, you'll get these penalties. And I'll say this, trying to be safe. Look up the percentages and keep in mind the death rate has been going on now 2 year period. Think about how many people have died. Think about the population of the US. I know we've done this before, but I feel we need to always keep doing this because this needs to be brought up to these people who are so fanatical. You're literally, and then another thing is, of the people who have even gotten COVID from this Delta variant, what is the death rate? What is that percentage? To say, oh well, all the people who are dying are the unvaccinated. Okay, but yeah, how many people is that? What is the percentage? What are we talking? Let's start talking some real numbers here and get out the emotions and fear mongering. Let's talk real numbers and let people be able to make a choice. If somebody would rather take the chance of getting COVID and then possibly getting over it than taking the vaccination, and who knows what could happen? Nothing at all might happen. You might be perfectly fine. It might boost your immune system. Who knows? But at the same time, you don't know if it's going to do something negative to you also. And it shouldn't be considered selfish for people to have a fear of it and to question. And my thing is, it's like it's the attitude from a lot of these people is as if we don't have valid reasons to question. I mean, I don't think there could be any more reasons to question. If anything, if you're not questioning, I start questioning you. So I guess that's all I have to talk about on these topics. I definitely will be back tomorrow. Trying to get myself in the swing of things. I guess I'll probably do the early part of the week working on videos, and I'll probably drop some of those videos like before I go live on like Thursday. I'm trying to work on an interview for Sunday that will more than likely be on this channel. I don't want to put it out there who it is until I get confirmation. I know one of my videos, I talked to somebody. We talked about this interview going down. It ended up not going down, and I just want to make sure that I get the person who I'm telling my audience that's going to be there that they're actually going to be there. But we're discussing a time and a date for this person. Very, very fiery speaker. Very passionate young woman. That's all I will give you. Um, but yes, if I do hear from her soon, I will try to. Hopefully, I hear from her soon, and I can tell you guys in tomorrow's show. If not, make sure to pay attention to my announcements on the political matrix, and make sure to be following me on all of my social media platforms, whether it is, um, let's see, at Real Marcus J. Cage, at Marcus James Cage, at What Cage. And those are my three main channels. At What Cage is for Hebrew apologetics. Um, at Real Marcus J. Cage is Young Morpheus, the Political Matrix. And at Marcus James Cage would be my that would be my one for this channel. And my I guess I'll just have to go ahead and say it. My handle, well, I guess my name on there would be actually no, I won't do that. For that Twitter handle is at Marcus James Cage. That's Marcus with a C. Look it up, and then you guys will see what it is, and that is the official COVID death rate. So keep that in mind. Blast that fact out over and over and over, and beat your friends who are, you know, COVID crazy over the head with these stats. They need to understand that they are freaking out and blowing things out of proportion. So, with that said, I thank you all for tuning in. And for those who will tune in later, um, this has been, what I've been thinking with Marcus Cage. I, of course, am Marcus Cage, and hope you all have a good evening. See you all tomorrow.